Warzone's big Modern Warfare 3 update is finally here, and with it comes so many amazing new things, like improved movement mechanics and the brand new map Urzikstan, which is why I'm releasing a few different settings videos at the start of the new Warzone update, including this one right here, where we're gonna cover the controller settings. And as always, we start with the button layout. Now, as you may know by now, Modern Warfare 3 has the movement mechanics a lot more emphasized compared to Modern Warfare 2. So in Warzone, we are gonna feel that big difference now. So it's really important we have the right button layout. So for standard controller users, whether you're on PC, PlayStation, or Xbox, I do recommend using Tactical or Bumper Jumper Tactical. And the reason for that is that slide cancelling is back. It's not as kind of broken as it used to be, but it is absolutely back. So by using Tactical or Bumper Jumper Tactical, it means that our right analog is now used to go prone, go crouching, and sliding. And I'll just hide my camera here so you can see exactly what's changing up on the buttons. So as you can see, B or O is now melee, and then those important movement mechanics are all on the right stick. And obviously that just means it's much easier to have good movement around the map while still being able to aim. Now, like I said, you can go one step further and go on Bumper Jumper Tactical, so that allows you to jump with the left bumper, meaning things like jump shotting are also much easier as well. But for a lot of players, it's kind of tricky to get used to, and if you don't play on Tactical already, that might be too much of a difference, so for now, stick to that. And if you really want to get ahead of your opponent, you can even go one step further and flip your triggers and your bumpers. So at the moment, of course, our right trigger is to shoot, so if we enabled this, our right bumper would be shoot. And the reason you might want to do this is that essentially you can click this bumper in much quicker than you can click the trigger in, so you can just shoot quicker. Then as we come down the list here, we have things like controller vibration, of course that's up to you, but then we have dead zone inputs. Now this is one of the settings you do want to pay attention to. Now my advice that I always share is to have these minimum settings as low as they can go until you get stick drift. And by stick drift, I mean when you're not actually at your controller and you're holding it and moving around, yet your character might still move around, or the aim might move around, so it would just be slight off center. That just means you've got worn analogs, but you can fix that in the settings, no problem. So in a perfect universe, we have this all the way on 0. Unfortunately for me, I'm on 4, but it's really not too bad. So to get your perfect setting, if you do have stick drift, is to just put these up by 1, go back into the game, see if you've got stick drift. If you have, go up again until basically you stop having it. But I do warn against having these a little bit too high, as essentially they can cause input delay. Then finally for dead zone, we come to the trigger dead zones. And just like the analogs, we want this as low as we can go. Now we go across to the aiming tab, and here we have sensitivity. Now there's no one right answer for this, and I know some people like cranking it up to 20 and somehow they can actually manage that. That's not what you have to go to be good at the game. I mean, a lot of Call of Duty pros run somewhere between 6 and 8, for example. Generally though, with this setting, you want it as high as you can go until you start missing your shots. So for me, that turned out to be around 6 or 7, which might be a little bit embarrassing. I would recommend you put these settings on slightly higher than you're comfortable with, but then go down to ADS sensitivity multiplier and put this down to 0.80. So this allows you to have that super fast sensitivity when you're looking around and running around the map, but when you actually aim in, your sensitivity is going to be slightly lower, making it much easier to shoot people. Then if you do alter your ADS sensitivity multiplier, I recommend doing that for the tactical stance as well. For aim response curve type, I've got mine on dynamic, and actually the differences between these are incredibly subtle. So if you're new to the game or you consider yourself a casual, I wouldn't worry about this setting too much. And I won't go into mega detail here, but essentially these settings can speed up or slow down the initial phase of movement with your analog compared to what's actually happening on the screen. So with dynamic, when we move our analog, actually the movement's slightly quicker in the initial phase and then slows down. And then standard is the opposite. When we move our analogs, it's initially a little bit slower before speeding up. And then linear is kind of what you would imagine the standard setting to be. It's just whatever you click on your analogs is exactly what's happening on the screen. Now I'm just used to running dynamic at this point because I've been running it for years, so that's what I run. And actually, I will admit many pros do use this as well. But actually, if you are going to be using a mixture of SMGs, snipers, assault rifles, linear is actually the best option to go for. For ADS sensitivity transition timing, put this on instant. This just means that 0.8 setting we've just set up here actually applies instantly when we aim in. For aim assist, of course, we want this enabled, and the aim assist type, I would recommend using Black Ops. The Modern Warfare 3 engine does seem to slightly favor Black Ops in terms of the strength of aim assist, although there's not a lot in it. Then lastly, we come to gameplay and we start with automatic sprint. Here I recommend that you use automatic tactical sprint. This just means that you have to push up on your left analog and you'll go straight into that tactical sprint, so we're much quicker around the map and we just have better movement for it. For ground mantle, I recommend switching this off. Automatic airborne mantle, put this on partial. For automatic ground mantle hang, switch this off as well. And the reason we want to change these mantle settings is that sometimes the map can become what I call a little bit sticky. So when you're running around the map trying to do some of these different movement mechanics, or maybe you're trying to get in a jump up spot somewhere, sometimes the automatic settings can make you do things you don't want to be doing. So for example, you might want to jump shot someone in the middle of a gunfight. Well, if you left these settings on standard, there's a chance you'll end up just jumping and vaulting over things. Then for slide and dive behavior, this one's a little bit subjective, but I personally like slide only. Now I know for about a year now, when Modern Warfare 2 got integrated with Warzone, we've been diving around the map everywhere, and it's probably been the most powerful movement mechanic. But now that slide cancelling is back, slide only makes that so much easier. Now of course, if you still want the ability to slide cancel and be diving around the map, you can just go tap to slide, and then you can just hold onto a button to go into that dolphin dive. For parachute auto deploy, as always on Warzone, switch this off. It's still the case that we can manually pull our chute much closer to the ground, getting an advantage over everyone else who has it on auto deploy. For the next few settings, these are essentially on their default setting, but slide cancel sprint, make sure this is on. The next setting to change is actually weapon mount exit delay. We want this on instant. And then of course we have interact and reload behavior, and we want that on prioritize interact. This just means that we have to tap our button rather than holding it every time we do an interaction around the map. So that might be looting things, picking things up, etc, etc. For armor plates behavior, put it on apply all. This just means that we have to press and hold once and all the plates will go on, freeing up our fingers to maybe focus on movement and getting away from whoever's just broken our plates. And that's actually the last controller setting that I do recommend changing. Now hopefully you are enjoying the brand new map Urzikstan and the overhaul of quality of life improvements that we've had on Warzone. But now that we're finished up here, why don't you join me in these videos where I cover the best graphic settings in the updated Warzone, or you could check out the other video where I go over the best audio settings.